My name is New York City Council member Danny Dromm, and I represent Jackson Heights and Elmhurst in the New York City Council. I was one of the first openly gay elected officials here in the borough of Queens, and I've been a long-time gay activist. I was the founder of the Queens Pride Parade and many of the organizations that currently exist here in the borough. But I wasn't always so open about being gay, and in fact, my coming out has multiple layers. I first came out to my family in 1973. I took my mother to a restaurant in Greenwich Village called Tio Pepe's. And after dinner was over, I got up to go to the bathroom, and my friend who had joined us for the dinner apparently asked my mother if she wanted to come out to the club with me after dinner. But when I sat down at the table and my mother said to me, "Oh, I'm going to go out with you to the club," I said, "Oh, no, you're not." And she said, "Why not?" And I'm like, "Well, because you're too old." And then she said to me, "Is it a gay club?" And I said to her, "Yes." And she started to cry. And I asked her, "Well, why are you crying?" I said, "I don't understand. You know, I'm gay. Yes, it is true." And she said, "I'm not disgusted or, hate you or anything like that." She said, "But I fear that you're going to be discriminated against in life." And so that was the way that I came out to my mother. And eventually I did go to the bar with her, but not that same night and everything, but she did come, and she was very supportive of me throughout my teen years. And I really credit the fact that my mother was supportive of me that enabled me to be active and involved in the early gay rights movement. That was really, really important to me. But then I came out in another way in 1992 when I was a teacher in the New York City public school system, and I wanted to support the Children of the Rainbow curriculum. That was a curriculum that was designed to teach tolerance of all of New York City's diverse communities. And it was based on the killing of African American men in Bensonhurst and in Howard Beach in Queens. We came up with a curriculum that is inclusive of LGBT families, and the LGBT part of it was optional, so that teachers who found maybe they had same-sex parents of students in their class, whatever, would be able to reference some of the material and use it so that other kids would know that it's okay to be gay. But my school board president, her name was Mary Cummins, and other school boards around the city completely and totally rejected the curriculum and, in my opinion, distorted it. And so I felt an obligation to come out as a gay teacher in a very public way. I went to a meeting at the Lesbian and Gay Community Services Center to support the Children of the Rainbow curriculum. And I knew that if I raised my hand and said that I taught in that school district, I would become the focus of media attention. But I made a conscious decision to do that because I also thought that I could not live with myself knowing that I'm a gay man and that people are saying these horrible things about our community. I also knew that I was a pretty good teacher and that I thought I would have the support of the parents in my school. And so I did. I raised my hand. I became the focus of media attention, and the next day, on the pages of Newsday, I never saw a picture so big, was my photo and a story about me coming out as a gay teacher. I had not even told my principal that the story was going to be there, so I had to come out to him and tell him. Of course, all the parents saw it, and as soon as the rest of the media in New York City saw it, they started to come around the school, and they surrounded my school for about 4 days, asking the kids what it was like to have a gay teacher, etc., so forth and so on. And my struggles didn't end there, because eventually the school board, some of the members of the school board, one in particular named Frank Borzelieri, went after me and tried to have me removed from my teaching position. But I prevailed. I stuck by my guns, so to speak, and I organized the Queens Pride Parade so that it could facilitate the coming out of other people, especially young people. And from there, we built the organizations. Eventually, I got involved in politics. I ran for public office against an incumbent, and I won. And now I'm the chairperson of the Education Committee, and I have oversight over the Department of Education. And we are working really hard to ensure that our LGBT students, and all students in fact, are free from bullying and are included in the curriculum. This is something that's also really important to me, the teaching of LGBT history. So now that I'm in this position, I'm really proud to be able to do this video to share my experiences with all of you and to let you know that the best thing that I ever did in my life was to come out of the closet. So for me, I always felt that I was different from the time that I was about 5 years old. But I don't really know, I didn't know how to describe it. You know, it wasn't sexual feelings or anything like that, but I just felt different from all the other boys. As I got into puberty and into being a teenager, I really then knew I was attracted to other boys in my class. But I had nobody to go to talk to about it. And the only things that I knew about being gay were negative things. And you have to remember, this was in 1969 to 73 when I was in high school. And Stonewall had just happened, you know. But there was very little information about that. You know, I guess I realized that I was attracted to other boys, but I didn't think that I could live as an openly gay person. So, especially in the 60s, I began to think of what would I do with the rest of my life. And the one option that was available was to become a brother, a Catholic brother. And I thought that was the only way to live a respectable life and not have to get married to a girl. And so I joined a vocation program with the Marist brothers, thinking that I wanted to teach Spanish in a Marist brothers school. But eventually, when the Marist brothers found out that I was gay, they rejected me. And it's probably one of the best things that happened as well, because I would not want to be a Marist brother today. Thank goodness for that. But it was very difficult in those days. And I hope that the work that we have done as gay activists since the 70s, 80s, 90s, right through to today, does help LGBT youth in many ways to facilitate their coming out. And most importantly, to know that they are not alone. When I grew up, I thought I was the only gay person in the world. I did not really know that there were other gay people. You never saw it on television or anything. I remember going to the Manhasset Public Library in Long Island and thinking the word homosexual applied to me, because I guess I heard it somewhere. But I actually went and I looked in the card catalog. In the old days, they used to have card catalogs. And I found books on homosexuality, and I was going to look for them, but you had to ask the librarian for the books. And I was too embarrassed or too afraid to ask the librarian for the books. Now, probably that was a good thing also, because those books were probably a very negative opinion of what it meant to be gay. But imagine, there was no books or anything that I could even look at or learn about to understand my sexuality better. So if you're a student today in a New York City public school or any school across the nation, the first thing I would say to you is that God made you gay, and you should be proud of being gay and grateful for being gay. I think being gay is great, but I will caution you to make sure that before you come out of the closet, that you're able to take care of yourself. I have heard so many stories of LGBTQ youth coming out to their parents and being rejected. Now, I thought my mother would reject me. Fortunately, she didn't. I guess I read her correctly. But I do know of many friends who were thrown out of their house and had to live with me on occasions because their parents had rejected them. So my advice to young people who are thinking about coming out is that, yes, it's a good thing to come out, but make sure that you're able to take care of yourself before you actually do that. So coming out is the most powerful thing that we as LGBT people can do. It's why we've had such success in the movement. Everybody today now knows an LGBT family member or a friend that they did not originally know was LGBT. Once they find out that you are LGBT, that you've come out of the closet, they say, ah, well, I know Danny, and he's not such a bad guy. And if he's not such a bad guy, I guess other LGBT people are not so bad. That's why we need to continue to come out and especially thank and support our LGBT allies, those who stand up for us. You know, I work very closely with parents, families, and friends of lesbians and gays. And in fact, I was friends with Jean Manford, the original founder of PFLAG. But Jean Manford used to say that parents can advocate for LGBT people even in a way that LGBT people can't do for themselves. So we need our straight allies to help advocate for us. Once you understand how difficult it is and how much we need your support, I think that you will help us, and I think that's really important to the movement. So serving as an openly gay LGBT elected official has been such a pleasure and such a wonderful thing for me. Everywhere I go, I have the opportunity to be openly gay. So whether I speak to religious groups, to parents groups, to schools, even to my dry cleaner, everybody knows that I'm gay. And that's a wonderful thing. I just spoke yesterday with a lesbian neighbor here in Jackson Heights, and she said, you know what? I'm so happy that I've come out and that I live in this neighborhood because I feel so integrated into the rest of society. And so I think having openly gay elected officials, people who can stand up and say, we are your family, your friends, and your neighbors, is really important, and it's very empowering. I have a lot of people here in this community who have come up to me and said to me, thank you for the work that you've done, not just for LGBT people, but for all people who are affected by discrimination and prejudice. You know, when the killings in Orlando happened last year, I was very proud to be able to join together with the Muslim community, and we had hundreds of people show up, and we had about 24 Muslim leaders come to speak on LGBT rights. It's possible that we can do it, and we need good leadership. So I urge all youth to consider a career in public service and to also get elected to public office, because that is a way that you can make real good fundamental change in our society. If you want to really affect change, you have to affect the political structure.
Great. Anything else you want to share? Anything you feel like you left out or I didn't ask?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I thought that was really awesome.
Thank you.